welcome to Dakman Productions and welcome to Conahey Rail. So today's video is going to be about the Lionel SD70MAC versus the K-Line SD70MAC. You guys seem to have liked my K-Line depressed center car versus the Atlas O center depressed car. Now, yes, people were pointing out, well, it's really two different types of manufacturers of depressed flat cars. I realized that, but the whole point of that video was to point out that the K-Line, for being 20 years older than the current release model, had a whole heck of a lot more details than the current 2024 model. You know, I know it's 2025, but that model, I believe, was made in 2024. But at any rate, so for those who don't know, K-Line was also a O-gauge model train manufacturer. They were around for quite some time. There was alleged allegations of copyrights and so forth and so on. And so they used up a lot of their money in court battles, and they end up not having a lot of money. And in 2005, Lionel had bought them out. So before Lionel bought K-Line, K-Line had already developed a mold of the EMD SD70MAC. So when they K-Line took the orders for these locomotives, however, unfortunately, they went out of business, and Lionel had bought them before they could be produced. However, Lionel went ahead and made good on those orders and produced those SD70MACs out of those molds. But keep in mind, Lionel had their own EMD SD70MAC. So we're going to take a look at the Lionel version, the original Lionel version EMD SD70MAC versus the K-Line SD70MAC made in 2005. You guys need to stay tuned to this video because it's going to blow you away. It may even shock you. So let's take a look. Let's go. Alright, so we have the Lionel version on the left, the original Lionel version, and the K-Line version on the right. So let's talk about the original Lionel version. This particular model here was made in the year 2000 and was featured in the Lionel Classic Trains Volume 1. These weren't really hot sellers at the time. You get them, there was a TMCC version with sounds and one in conventional. Lionel decided to take the unsold versions and installed Odyssey in them to show that feature as a demo to certain hobby shops. So that's why this one says Odyssey on it. That's a dealer demo. And Odyssey, all that is just cruise control. But let's take a look at this model, the original Lionel SD70MAC versus the K-Line version. So if you look on the Lionel version, you'll see that the grab rails on the hood are molded in. The grab rails on the roof are molded in. I should probably turn this thing around so we're looking at them both the same way. Hold on. Alright, there we go. Much better. But as I was pointing out, not much of I'm not sure exactly what they were thinking here with the front of this locomotive. It just doesn't look right, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, we have the Lionel here, K-Line here. And already you're starting to see a huge, huge difference. If you look at this handrail, it's like, what were they thinking here? The K-Line, look at this handrail. Beautifully applied, painted white correctly. Painted white handrail here. The ditch lights depends on the time period. Either way would be correct, above the deck or below the deck. The ones below the deck were usually Conroe units that didn't have ditch lights, and when ditch lights was implemented, they installed them under the deck. The factory installed them on top of the deck, for the most part. I'm not saying all the time, but anyway, take a look at the brake lines here. The K-line version has metal tipped couplers on the air lines. Check out the grab handle here. Nice grab handles here. Separately applied steps. We look at the Lionel version. The plastic airlines are like, I mean, are they even there? I don't even see them. The metal handrail that's supposed to be here is just that. I mean, here you go. That's just crazy. And I understand that this model was made 5 years later, but I still wanted to make this comparison. So here we have a 2000 model versus a 2005. And this is why I was saying that, you know, basically K-line would have been, K-line would have gave Lionel, Atlas, and MTH a run for their money if they hadn't gone out of business. I mean, they were already doing separate small decals. So if you come over here, you'll see what I mean. Check out the decals there on the K-line unit. There's some on the Lionel, but not really the ones that are supposed to be there, like the Danger. If you come back here, you'll see the Danger sign. Nothing on the Lionel. I noticed that the K-line made the venting a little bit different than Lionel had did. So you can see that comparison right there. And even the back. This is a separately applied rail, and this is not. That's molded in. We come across, so you can compare the top. One thing I noticed here on the K-line, that this is stepped up a little bit more. Also, the K-line version, you'll notice that this part is wider than the Lionel version, right there. See this? And I noticed that on the K-line version does not have this part of it right there. You'll notice that's different. Instead, I think they have it up against the cab. So as you can see, the K-line locomotive was a much, much more refined and detailed product compared to the original Lionel version, SD70MAC. These are both SD70MAC models. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you, and I showed this to Kevin Quinn at the TCA, and he didn't even know this, but the Lionel version, if you look, we'll pick these up here, hold on. So, the original Lionel trucks, although they're 3-axle, only 2 of the 3 axles are powered. Let's take a look at the line or K-line version, because Kevin bought this particular locomotive from Tony Trains and Things, and I showed him. I said, look, this locomotive, all 3 axles are driven. unlike the Lionel version. This is a K-Line model. I mean, yeah, Lionel produced it, but it was still out of a K-Line mold. But so he was like, wow. So he ended up buying it just because of the axles. All the axles are driven, unlike the Lionel version. That makes a difference if you're pulling a long train, less strain, more traction. I mean, the wheels are already there, so why not go ahead and make them driven? It just drives me crazy that Lionel didn't make the 3-axle trucks, all three axles powered. K-Line did, though. So this is a Lionel SD70MAC. This is out of the Big Blue set and was advertised in the Lionel 2015 catalog. You'll see that this is just like their older mold. You know, it's got the box here. You'll see this one has the box here. So they're still using their older mold. You can see that they still use the wonderful decals. They started putting decals on like K-Line did. They did improve the handrails on these. They went ahead and put a nice chain on it. They added separately applied details on the roof and on the hood. So they did try to make changes to improve the model. However, in my opinion, I think the K-Line version is still way more better detailed than the original Lionel version. This one just got the same drive, basically. Only 2 out of 3 axles are driven on this model. I mean, just by taking a side-by-side look, the first thing that should be catching your eye is the door. Lionel, K-Line. Lionel has the door on the left side of the nose. K-Line has the door on the right side of the nose. But I can tell you right now, Lionel has got it wrong. K-Line has it right. Lionel has the wrong type of hand railings. The K-Line model has the correct style of handrails. I'll show you a photo of the real Lionel SD70MAC that I found online. It's holding coal hoppers, which is something that I do. But I agree with many have said, which is Lionel should have replaced their existing mold or model with the K-Line version. The K-Line is much more accurate. And this model, this Lionel model, that's out of the Big Blue set, remember. So this is a 2015 model versus a 2005. This model should be better than what they, 10 years ago. But it is not. And you'll notice that the SD70MAC in the picture also has the ditch lights above the deck, as I mentioned. So, I'd like to know what you guys think. What's your vote? The K-Line or Lionel? Even though, Lionel did make some improvements over time, but still, all in all, the 2005 model is better than the Lionel 2015 model. And I'd like to hear your opinion. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Alright, so let's go ahead and make a run. I would like to thank you guys for watching another Deck Band Productions video. We'll see you at the next train show, next event. We'll see you trackside. Goodbye.